Hey, have you ever wanted to be exploited by a major corporation? Work brutal 16-hour shifts every day and then become a live leak video? Well, good news. You can do all that, but in space, in Lethal Company, the newest indie horror game. It's my favorite 9-to-5 simulator. Collect scrap, travel to new and exotic places, have fun with friends, enjoy our catchy corporate jingle, witness inhuman horrors we as humans were never meant to comprehend. Taking place on a multitude of the most horrific locations you can think of, from Poland to Mexico, a Chinese steelworking plant, and yes, even your mother's house. Join us in our journey to meet our work quotas, find the most valuable of loots, and let company expensed healthcare, as well as much, much more. Without further ado, let's make touchdown. First, we need to introduce the crew. We had the new guys. Then there was the boss man, Swag Jaffa. This guy, he was a pro. He understood the data. He could help us salvage the goods, and he was only slightly insane. Now here's the quota. That's how much scrap value we need to collect in the next 3 days. If not, let's just say there'll be a corporate restructuring which will leave us in a unfavorable position. Now ladies and gents, this is experimentation. Weird name for a planet, I know. Now, before we step foot out of the ship, we gotta talk economy. See, you start off with no gear, but a small bundle of credits to spend in the terminal. Now what can we get off the bat? Flashlights. You can afford Weenie Hut Jr.'s flashlights and that's it, because you're broke. But what am I supposed to do if the items I ordered will take 3 to 4 business days to arrive? Well, don't worry. These aren't some Temu dropshipping products. We've got a major corporation on our side, for now. Isn't that a wonderful jingle? I can't wait to hear it every day for the rest of my life. Anyway, this pod comes down, drops all your loot you ordered, which you can either use now or store later for another run. That's right, game depth. Let's actually get some scrap now, huh? This is what Lethal Company is. You go into these dark abandoned facilities looking for loot. The areas are slick with tension. All noises echo, even the voice chat. And since the areas are so quiet, even the slightest change in that is pretty creepy. Hell, even the doors sound creepy. But we have nothing to fear. Our brave leader, Swag Jaffa at the helm, teaching us his ancient Chinese metalworking secrets. Wait, where'd he go? Some kinds of scrap require you to hold them with both hands, meaning you can't use items like flashlights without dropping them. Not only this, the weight of items will impact how fast you move, making you more vulnerable, because clearly I've never trained. So, realizing this, I decided to follow once again our glorious leader, Swag Jaffa, who would lead us to a new era of...
Fucking hell, what was it? It's on you! Oh fuck! What do I do?
Oh, I'm sorry, did you think he was safe because he knew what he was doing? Nope, just like that, he had been killed. And all I could do was watch in horror. That's the thing about this game. Very, very rarely are you going to be in a position to fight back. Weapons are exceptionally rare, and they weigh a metric ton. So most of the time, if you see something eating your friend right in front of you, all you can realistically do is run away. Which is what I did. And with no sight of my fellow recruit, I left. It turns out he was also dead, so good guess. But fear not, every day the crew revives, and we had a small amount of scrap to our names already, meaning hitting the quota was more possible. So day 2, here we come.
Oh my god!
Did I mention he was sort of insane? Now we, the interns, had to figure out just what to do, as he had led us deep into the winding corridors of the complex, just so we could blow. That wasn't the only problem we had. We noticed something was following us. A primordial goo was slowly but surely chasing us down, and in his infinite wisdom, my fellow intern decided to trap me in the goo. So as payback, I not only escaped using my parkour skills, but then I trapped him in there with it, and took off on the ship without him. Serves him right. But this came at a cost. Since both of them had died, we received a fine. Not only that, we had essentially wasted an entire day, meaning we now only had 1 day to meet the quota, so we had to take drastic action. Welcome to Assurance, planet I certainly hate. Not to mention, it had an eclipse going on from the very moment we landed. Now, what does an eclipse do, you might ask? No, not that. Not that. Basically, an eclipse will increase monster spawns significantly. Usually as the time gets later, more will spawn. But since it's effectively night off the bat, there'll be a lot of ghoulies. But we needed to take this risk in order to try and get as much scrap as possible before the deadline. Naturally, our glorious leader, Swag Jaffa, explained none of this to me, so I had no clue just how much danger we were in. Now here's the thing. The main entrance was the dead end, meaning we had to go find a fire exit if we wanted to get any loot. But I may or may not have been distracted, so when they went looking, I got left behind in the Valley of Doom. Do you guys hear that? Yeah, so needless to say, we failed. That is not good. So what do you guys think the punishment is from corporate for not hitting our projected performance goals? A training program? Maybe a pay cut? Or even, dear God, a HR meeting? Nope. Don't piss off your boss, kids. He'll make you into an Among Us reference. A fate worse than death. Anyway, let's try again. We were sick of the rocky moons, so we went somewhere a bit more pleasant. Vow, the forest moon. Ooh, look, a bridge. Hey, at least PewDiePie's safe now. We entered through the fire exit instead, and our leader, Swag Jaffa, he gave us a morale boost that we desperately needed.
Let's get this party started.
To this day, I have no idea how we got this, but the good vibes didn't last.
What's happening? What?
Don't got that. Do not got that. You don't want to got that.
Something was stalking us, but we are gamers, so we gave chase, music in tow. Wait, no, the boombox just got stolen.
Help! Help!
Ah. Inhuman horrors just beyond this wall. We had heard his death, but there was fat loot where he died. So I, being a true corporate weapon, decided to risk my life to get the scrap. I lied so hard. We didn't look back. We just left with the few morsels of scrap we had because I don't know what that thing was, and frankly, I never want to see it again. How about we go back to experimentation now? Yeah, that sounds way better than this place. When we arrived to experimentation, it was raining heavy, meaning that the water level was going to steadily rise. Just something to keep in mind when you're lugging heavy scrap. Us interns decided that we would go in whilst the man himself, Swag Jaffa, would use the cameras in the ship to open doors we may need. Once inside, we found some good stuff off the bat. Of course he came back. Andy was guarding the exit. We made a mad dash to the door we came in from, but that sicko, Swag Jaffa, had locked it and we had no way to tell him that the beast was coming for us. So we just screamed for him to open. Just barely in time did he manage to open it up for us to escape, as my fellow intern distracted the demon creature, and we narrowly escaped with all the loot. And may I proudly announce, we had already hit our quota with a day to spare, meaning now it was time to make some profit. You know what that means? Time to take an unnecessary risk. Welcome to Offensive, Assurance's evil order brother. Right off the bat, you may think they're the same visually, but the key difference is layout and creatures. In my experience, Offensive lives up to the name. There's a lot of beasts that will just rondo around when compared to moons like Experimentation or Assurance. I may be wrong, but I don't care. As soon as we entered, we had already found a problem. We had to formulate a plan to sneak past him, because I don't like my odds fighting Frogman. Sneaking past, we found a large axle, which is a nice chunk of change, but realised that both halves that weren't Frogman's were dead ends. So we were forced to make a choice, leave with what we have, or go in for extra goods, with a slight risk of getting bored, pyro style. Naturally, that's a win-win, so we went deep. There wasn't much to explore on that path, but we did find an air horn, and we were feeling good. Well, time to leave. I took the loot we acquired together and headed back to the ship. Oh, regardless of that failed run, we still had enough scrap to meet our quota. So now, it's time to sell. Oh, him? Don't mind him, that's Frank. He's chill as hell. Now, we actually had money to spend on cool gear, not just flashlights. We could get pro flashlights, walkie-talkies, and even a pumpkin that laughs when you hit him. What a great purchase. Regardless of the questionable purchases, we now had the ability to communicate from afar, and by God did we intend to use it.
Skibbity toilet.
We put one guy on the cameras in the ship and gave him the radio so he could tell us if we were about to get eaten, as well as open doors when we asked him. Me and my glorious leader, Swag Jaffa, come in and yep, that's par for the course at this point.
I'm gonna take the flashlight.
It became a one-man mission, with my fellow intern giving me directions through the radio. I found a kettle, like a true proper British geezer, as well as a large axle, which I got back. You see, on the ship camera, not only can you see players and monsters, but you can also see loot, meaning he could guide me into where all the goods were. Once I returned, we switched shifts, because frankly, I knew I'd die if I went back in. And it looks like I made a good guess, because there was something chasing him right from the moment he came in. But unlike our leader, he actually survived this and made it back home for ham night. Now, we noticed that our beloved leader Swag Jaffa, the glorious industrial leader, well, he had been dying a lot, so we collectively decided we would take a different approach once again, and we set sail for yet another new planet. March, a personal favourite of mine. This is, in my opinion, the chillest moon.
I didn't realize you were chill like that. Alright, you're good.
Only birds and bugs as far as the eye can see. And the other intern drowned in a lake.
Drowned, dead.
And he had the walkie-talkie. Wonderful. But on the plus side, I found a ton of juicy loot, and Swag Jaffa survived for once. All things considered, pretty good run. Didn't even see any monsters. What did I tell you, boys? March is goated Kaisena Ohio Rizon Phantom. Anyways, back to Vow again. This time, I was the man in the chair, purely so I could hear their screams of horror as they got chased, because it would be funny. And once again, Swag Jaffa died, par for the course at this point, but my fellow intern brought me a very special gift, a nuclear reactor. Wait, what? That bad boy was worth a pretty penny, the small cost of a radiation leak. And once we had sold all the goods on that run, we had made more than just a pretty penny. But for the sake of the video, we're gonna skip ahead a bit. We've covered every moon now, from experimentation to March. We've been to them all and lived to tell the tale. But now it was time to step up our game. See, there's actually 8 moons in Lethal Company, not 5. I've just been hiding the last 3 because, well, I'm a broke boy and they cost some serious dough to go to. Rend, a snow planet under a constant snowstorm. You have to follow the lamps to find the facility, and if you try and stray from the path, it won't end well for you. But upon entering into the facility, you'll find it's not a facility at all, but a mansion. How subversive. We knew the stakes were higher, so we stuck together. And well, what is that thing? Nope. So I hid, and then I heard through the walls. I was petrified. I didn't know what would happen when it fully wound up, and when it did, dear God, the screams. Dear God, the inhuman screams. And if you think that's bad, it got worse. This thing appeared in the room with me. I tried to escape, but it was too late. As you can see, this place is hellish. But hey, someone has to pay those stakeholders, and you better bet we're going to ensure that they get their paycheck. This time, we split up to cover more ground, already finding more stuff than before. But when I went outside to check on our loot dump spot, I found a puddle of blood and a statically charged bell. Did I mention during storms that metal things explode? Rip, my fellow intern. You existed to me. Well, I may as well get this stuff back to the ship. Okay, things were looking bad. We had no loot, no money, no gear, and we only had 1 day left to make any profit. So we took what little stuff we had left and we went in for the all or nothing gambit. Rend had to have something good to justify the price and difficulty, and we were damned if we didn't find it. So we went back in, guided by our local radio head. Are you kidding me already? This round was tense. We were being hunted the entire time. As we were slowly making our way through each room, it was the demon creature back for revenge. He wanted to finish the job he started all those moons ago, but he wasn't the only repeat guest. The spring creature that appeared before me back then was here, and this time he was more active. It was essentially a weeping angel, moving super fast when no one was looking at it. So we backpedaled to the exit together, dropping most of the loot we acquired to have a speedy getaway. We had escaped with our lives, but what's the point in living if the company doesn't meet its profit margins? So we returned for more. But what's this? We had him trapped. He couldn't escape our gaze as a 2-man team, so we had him perfectly sandwiched between us. But things never go as planned.
Just one of us has to keep an eye on him at all times. We have to leave him.
I had no choice but to return back through the storm. But even out there, I wasn't alone. Something else was out looking. And with time running out, I had no choice but to run to the ship before it left, its steps growing closer and closer until... Lethal Company, what a game, full of secrets and horrors you couldn't even comprehend, as well as the wonders of capitalism. And there is still many things I haven't covered yet that you could find for yourself. There's a mystery to be uncovered in every planet. I thoroughly recommend it. There's even a schizophrenia monster. How inclusive. Anyway, in conclusion,